A solitary cowboy rescues a family from a dangerous bandit attack. They build a new life together. Welcome to today's story. In the next few minutes, you'll witness an incredible tale of courage, survival, and unexpected bonds formed in the harsh landscape of the Old West. When a lone cowboy crosses paths with a family under attack, their lives will change forever. Get ready for an emotional journey through danger, hope, and new beginnings. Before we dive in, if you enjoy Western stories like this, hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. The sun hung low over the Arizona territory, painting the sky in shades of copper and blood. Martha Collins wiped the sweat from her brow as she called her children in for supper. 10-year-old Thomas and 8-year-old Emma raced across the dusty yard, their laughter echoing off the canyon walls that surrounded their small homestead. "Wash up first," Martha called, but her smile faded as she noticed dust clouds rising in the distance. Her husband had been gone for 3 days, driving cattle to the market in Tucson. He wasn't due back until tomorrow. The riders appeared like dark specters against the dying light. 5 men, their faces hidden beneath wide-brimmed hats and weeks of trail dust. Martha's heart hammered as she recognized the lead rider, Jake Black Eye Morrison, whose wanted posters decorated every sheriff's office from here to the Mexican border. "Thomas, Emma, get inside," she whispered urgently, reaching for the Winchester mounted beside the door. "Well, well," Morrison's gravelly voice carried across the yard as he reined in his horse. "Looks like the man of the house ain't home. That's mighty unfortunate." Martha leveled the rifle at his chest. "Turn around and ride on. We've got nothing for you here." Morrison's laugh was like grinding stones. "Oh, I think you do. See, me and my boys been riding hard, and we're in need of supplies, and maybe a little hospitality." The other bandits spread out, encircling the small cabin. Martha's hands trembled, but she kept the rifle steady. Through the window, she could see her children's terrified faces. "I said ride on," she shouted, but her voice cracked with fear. Morrison dismounted slowly, his spurs jangling with each step. "Now that ain't very neighborly. Boys, I think the lady needs a lesson in manners." The crack of a rifle shot split the air, but it didn't come from Martha's gun. Morrison's hat flew off his head, and he dove for cover as a lone rider appeared on the ridge above the homestead. The stranger sat tall in his saddle, silhouetted against the fading light. His duster coat billowed in the evening breeze as he worked the lever of his rifle with practiced efficiency. Another shot kicked up dust at the feet of Morrison's horse, sending it bolting. "Evening, ma'am," the stranger called down, his voice calm as Sunday morning. "These men bothering you?" Morrison scrambled to his feet, his hand hovering over his pistol. "This ain't your concern, stranger. Ride on while you still can." The cowboy shifted slightly in his saddle, and suddenly his rifle was trained on Morrison's chest. "Can't do that. See, I've got a powerful dislike for men who terrorize women and children. Now you boys have exactly 10 seconds to mount up and ride out, or I start evening the odds. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps." One of Morrison's men went for his gun. The stranger's rifle barked twice in rapid succession, and the bandit's pistol went flying. His hand clutched to his chest as he howled in pain. "That's one," the stranger said conversationally. "Who wants to be number 2? Morrison's face contorted with rage, but he was smart enough to recognize when he was outgunned and outpositioned. "Mount up," he snarled to his men. As he swung into his saddle, he pointed a finger at the stranger. "This ain't over, cowboy. I'll be seeing you again." "Looking forward to it," the stranger replied evenly. The bandits rode off in a cloud of dust and curses. Only when they disappeared over the horizon did the stranger descend from the ridge. As he approached the cabin, Martha got her first good look at him. He was tall and lean, with weathered features that spoke of long days under the desert sun. A week's worth of stubble covered his jaw, and his grey eyes held a weariness that went bone deep. "Name's Logan Harper," he said, touching the brim of his hat. "Sorry for the disturbance, ma'am." Martha lowered her rifle, her hands still shaking. Martha Collins, thank you. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't shown up. Logan glanced at the horizon where the bandits had vanished. Morrison's mean as a rattler and twice as dangerous. He'll be back, probably with more men. My husband will be home tomorrow, Martha said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. Logan's expression was grim. No offense, ma'am, but one more gun won't make much difference against Morrison's gang. You got family nearby? Somewhere you can go? Martha shook her head, tears threatening to spill. This is all we have. We put everything into this place. The door creaked open, and Thomas peered out, Emma hiding behind him. Logan's expression softened at the sight of the children. These your young ones? Yes, Thomas and Emma. Martha pulled them close. Children, this is Mr. Harper. He helped us. Logan knelt down to their level. You two were very brave, staying quiet like that. Your ma raised you right. Thomas studied him with serious eyes. Are you a gunfighter, mister? No, son. Just a man who knows which end of a rifle to point at bad folks. As darkness settled over the homestead, Martha found herself facing an impossible decision. The stranger had saved them, but could she trust him? And even if she could, would one more gun be enough when Morrison returned? Mr. Harper, she said quietly, would you stay for supper? It's the least I can offer after what you did. Logan looked like he was about to refuse, then glanced at the children. Something in his expression shifted. I'd be obliged, ma'am, and call me Logan. As Martha led them inside, she couldn't shake the feeling that their lives had just taken a turn towards something larger than any of them could imagine. The lamp cast dancing shadows on the cabin walls as Martha served a simple meal of beans, cornbread, and preserved peaches. Logan ate quietly, his rifle propped against the table within easy reach. The children watched him with a mixture of fear and fascination. You children ever fired a gun? Logan asked suddenly. Thomas straightened up. Pa taught me to shoot his old Henry rifle. I'm a pretty good shot too. That's good, Logan nodded approvingly. How about you, little miss? Emma shook her head shyly. Mama says I'm too young. Your mama's probably right, Logan said with a slight smile. But it never hurts to know how to load one in a pinch. Martha watched this interaction carefully. There was something different about this drifter, a gentleness beneath the hard exterior that most gunmen lacked. Where are you headed, Mr. Harper? Logan, she asked. Nowhere in particular. Been drifting since... He paused, his jaw tightening. Since the war ended. Just me and Buck out there. He gestured toward where his horse was tied. You fought in the war? Thomas asked eagerly. Thomas, Martha warned, but Logan waved it off. It's all right. Yes, son, I did. Not something I care to remember most days. An uncomfortable silence fell over the table. Emma, with the innocent directness of children, broke it. Don't you have a family? Logan's hand stilled halfway to his coffee cup. I did once. Lost them while I was away fighting. His voice was barely above a whisper. Martha's heart ached at the pain in those simple words. She understood loss. Her own parents had died of fever 3 years back, leaving her and Daniel to make their own way. I'm sorry, she said softly. Logan shrugged, but she could see the effort it took. Long time ago now. After supper, Logan insisted on checking the perimeter. Martha put the children to bed, their excited whispers about the mysterious cowboy following her back to the main room. They'll be talking about you for weeks, she said, as Logan came back inside. Good kids, he said simply. You've done well by them. Their father deserves most of the credit. Daniel's a good man. She paused. He should be back by midday tomorrow. Logan nodded, understanding the unspoken question. I'll stay until he returns. Make sure Morrison doesn't come back tonight. After that, he shrugged. Thank you. Martha hesitated, then asked, what did Morrison mean when he said he'd see you again? Do you know him? Logan's face darkened. We've crossed paths. I tracked him for a while after he stopped, shaking his head. Let's just say he owes a debt that can only be paid one way. I'll leave a comment about what you think of the story so far. As night deepened, they established a watch routine. Logan took the first shift, insisting Martha get some rest. But sleep eluded her. Every sound, the wind rattling the shutters, a coyote's distant howl, made her heart race. Around midnight, she gave up and joined Logan on the porch. He sat in Daniel's rocking chair, rifle across his knees, scanning the darkness. "Can't sleep?" he asked without turning. "Too worried." As she pulled her shawl tighter against the cool night air, "Do you really think they'll come back?" Morrison's not the type to let a slight go unanswered, but he's also careful. He'll want more men, plan it better. Logan glanced at her. "Your husband, is he good with a gun?" "Fair. He's better with his hands, building things. This cabin, the corral, he made it all." Pride colored her voice. "A builder," Logan mused. "World needs more builders, fewer destroyers." They sat in companionable silence for a while, watching the stars wheel overhead. Finally, Martha asked the question that had been nagging at her. "Why did you help us? You could have ridden on, avoided the trouble." Logan was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. When he did, his voice was rough with emotion. "Had a wife once, Margaret. Hair like yours, same way of standing up to trouble. We had a daughter too, Emma's age when—" He stopped, clearing his throat. "When the raiders came while I was off fighting a war that seems pointless now, neighbors found them 3 days later." Martha's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh, Logan. I spent 2 years tracking down every last one of those men. When it was done, I kept drifting. Guess I'm still looking for a reason to stop." He turned to look at her directly. "Couldn't ride by today. Couldn't let it happen to another family." The pain in his eyes was raw, fresh despite the years. Martha reached out impulsively and touched his hand. "I'm so sorry." He looked down at her hand on his, something flickering in his expression. Then he gently pulled away. "You should try to rest. I'll wake you for the second watch." But Martha knew she wouldn't sleep. Not with Morrison out there planning his return, not with this damaged man standing guard over her family like a protective ghost. As she returned inside, she found herself wondering if Daniel would understand the strange connection she felt to this lonely cowboy who had appeared like an answered prayer. The night stretched on, filled with unspoken fears and the weight of shared sorrows. And somewhere in the darkness, she knew Morrison and his men were planning their revenge. Dawn broke gray and uncertain over the homestead. Logan stood at the window, coffee in hand, watching the horizon. He'd been up all night, but his vigilance never wavered. Martha busied herself with breakfast, trying to maintain normalcy for the children's sake. "Is Mr. Logan staying?" Emma asked, spooning porridge with unusual delicacy. "Until your father returns," Martha said, catching Logan's eye. He nodded slightly, still no sign of riders from any direction. Thomas was practicing his draw with an unloaded pistol Logan had checked for him, trying to imitate the cowboy's fluid movements. "Mr. Logan, could you teach me to shoot like you?" "That's up to your parents, son." Logan's voice was kind but firm. "Quick draws are less important than knowing when not to pull the trigger." The morning dragged on. By noon, Martha's worry had transformed into deep fear. Daniel was never late. Logan noticed her repeatedly checking the trail from town. "I could ride out, check the road," he offered quietly. "No," Martha said quickly. "If Morrison's out there—" "Mama," Emma tugged at her skirt, "is Papa lost?" Before Martha could answer, Logan pointed to the horizon. "Riders coming, 3 of them." Martha's heart leapt, then sank. Daniel would be alone with the wagon. Logan was already moving, checking his rifle, positioning himself by the door. "Take the children to the back room," he ordered. "Bar the door and don't come out unless I say so." "But what if it's not? Wrong direction." His tone brooked no argument. "Go, now." Martha hustled the protesting children to the back bedroom. Through the thin walls, she could hear horses approaching, the jingle of spurs, rough voices. "Harper," Morrison's voice rang out. "I know you're in there. Come on out and face me like a man." If you're enjoying this intense moment, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. Logan's voice was calm as ever. I'm comfortable where I am, Morrison. State your business and move on. My business is with you now, Cowboy. You cost me face in front of my men. That needs settling. Then it's between you and me. Leave the family out of it. Morrison laughed. See, that's where you're wrong. You made it their business when you took their side. But I'm feeling generous. Send out the woman and kids, and I'll make your death quick. In the back room, Martha pressed her children close, her mind racing. The window was too small for her to fit through. But the children... Thomas, she whispered urgently, take your sister. Climb out the window and run to the Hendersons' place. It's 5 miles north. Tell them to bring help. But Mama, do as I say. She helped Emma through the window first, then Thomas. Run and don't look back, no matter what you hear. As the children disappeared into the brush, Martha grabbed Daniel's shotgun from above the dresser. She wouldn't let Logan face this alone. In the main room, Logan had taken position by the front window. Your quarrel's with me, Morrison. Let me come out, and we settle this between us. Like you settled it with my brother in Amarillo? Logan's jaw tightened. Your brother was a mad dog who needed putting down. He killed 2 innocent women in that bank. He was blood, Morrison roared, and blood demands blood. The first shot shattered the window. Logan returned fire, his rifle steady and methodical. Martha crept to the doorway, shotgun ready. Thought I told you to stay put, Logan said without looking back. My house, my fight, she replied, surprised by her own steadiness. He almost smiled. Daniel's a lucky man. Watch the left side. They'll try to flank us. The battle was fierce but brief. Logan was an artist with his rifle, keeping Morrison's men pinned down while picking his shots carefully. Martha's shotgun boomed twice, discouraging anyone from approaching the side window. Then, as suddenly as it began, silence fell. Morrison's voice drifted across the yard. This ain't over, Harper. I'll burn you out if I have to. You could try, Logan called back. But I count 2 of your men down already. How many more you willing to lose? Through the gun smoke, Martha saw movement on the road. Her heart leapt. A wagon was approaching, and she recognized Daniel's team. But he wasn't alone. Several riders accompanied him, including Sheriff Patterson from town. Morrison saw them too. With a string of curses, he ordered his remaining men to retreat. As they galloped away, the sheriff and his posse gave chase. Daniel jumped from the wagon before it fully stopped, racing toward the cabin. Martha, children! We're all right, Martha called, emerging from the cabin. The children are safe. I sent them to the Hendersons. Daniel crushed her in an embrace, then noticed Logan standing in the doorway. His eyes took in the broken windows, the bullet holes, Logan's rifle. You're the one who helped my family, Daniel said. It wasn't a question. Logan Harper, Logan said, extending his hand. Your wife's got sand, Mr. Collins. Stood right with me when the lead started flying. Daniel shook his hand firmly. Then I owe you more than I can repay. No debt, Logan said quietly. Just glad I was passing by. Sheriff Patterson returned with one of his deputies. Lost them in the canyons, but we winged one pretty good. Morrison won't be back this way anytime soon. He looked at Logan. You're the one they call the Amarillo kid. Heard you retired. Just a drifter now, Sheriff. No trouble intended. Patterson studied him. Well, drifter or not, you did good here. Morrison's been terrorizing folks for months. Maybe now he'll think twice. As the sheriff left to collect the children, Daniel surveyed the damage to his home. We need to reinforce this place. Morrison might come back when he thinks we've let our guard down. I was thinking the same, Martha said. We could use help if... She looked at Logan meaningfully. Logan started to shake his head, already stepping toward his horse. You folks don't need me bringing my troubles to your door. Seems to me you took our troubles on yourself, Daniel said. Martha told me what happened, a man who'd do that. Well, we could use a hand around here. I can't pay much, but there's food and a roof. Daniel, Martha added softly, the children have taken to him. And frankly, I'd sleep better knowing we have someone who can handle a gun if Morrison returns. Logan stood torn, one foot toward leaving, one toward staying. In the distance, they could see Thomas and Emma running back with the sheriff's deputy, their faces bright with relief at seeing their father. "Papa!" They launched themselves at Daniel, words tumbling over each other about Mr. Logan and the bad men and their adventure. "Just for a few days," Logan said finally, "until you can get this place secured." Martha and Daniel exchanged a look. They both knew a few days could become something more, if given the chance. This lonely cowboy needed a home as much as they needed protection. As the sun began its descent toward the horizon, painting the sky in gentler colors than the night before, the Collins family and their unlikely guardian began the work of rebuilding. None of them knew that Morrison was already planning his return, or that Logan's past held more shadows than he'd revealed. But for now, there was work to be done, children to comfort, and the first fragile bonds of trust to strengthen. 2 weeks passed in a blur of activity. True to his word, Logan stayed to help fortify the homestead. What surprised everyone, including Logan himself, was how naturally he fit into their daily rhythm. Mornings found him working alongside Daniel, reinforcing walls and building better defensive positions. The two men developed an easy camaraderie, bonding over their shared experiences of loss and determination to protect what mattered. "You ever think about settling down again?" Daniel asked one day as they raised a new section of fence. Logan paused, wiping sweat from his brow. "Tried not to think about much of anything for a long time. Martha told me about your family. I'm sorry." "Appreciate that." Logan hefted another post. "Truth is, being here, it's the first time in years I've felt like I was doing something worthwhile." In the afternoons, Logan taught Thomas the finer points of marksmanship, emphasizing responsibility over speed. The boy was an eager student, soaking up not just the lessons about firearms, but the quiet wisdom Logan shared. "A gun's just a tool," Logan explained one day. "Like your pa's hammer. It's the man using it that makes it good or bad." Emma had overcome her initial shyness and now followed Logan around like a shadow, chattering about everything from her favorite doll to the shapes she saw in clouds. Logan listened with patience that surprised Martha, occasionally offering gentle responses that made the little girl beam. One evening, as Martha prepared supper, she watched through the window as Logan helped Emma feed the chickens. The sight of the hardened gunfighter, carefully showing the girl how to scatter grain without startling the birds, brought unexpected tears to her eyes. "He's good with them," Daniel said, joining her at the window. "He had a daughter once," Martha said softly. "I think being around Emma helps heal something in him." Daniel wrapped an arm around his wife. "And maybe we're helping heal something too. Man needs purpose. Family gives that." Leave a comment if you're enjoying how this story is developing. But their newfound peace was shattered when Sheriff Patterson arrived with grim news. "Morrison hit the bank in Tucson yesterday, killed 2 men. Word is, he's gathering more guns, planning something big." The sheriff looked directly at Logan. "He was asking about you specifically, and the Collins family." Logan's face went stone cold. "How many men?" "Maybe a dozen now. Some real hard cases from south of the border." Patterson hesitated. "I can't spare any deputies to stay out here. Town council's in a panic about the bank." After the sheriff left, a heavy silence settled over the cabin. The children were in bed, and the 3 adults sat around the table, coffee growing cold. "We should leave," Martha said finally. "Take the children somewhere safe until this blows over." "And go where?" Daniel asked. "Everything we have is here. Besides, running won't stop Morrison. He'll just follow." Logan stood abruptly. "This is my fault. I brought this trouble to your door. I should go. Lead Morrison away." "Sit down," Daniel said firmly. When Logan looked at him in surprise, Daniel continued, "You think we're the kind of people who let a friend face trouble alone? You stood for us. Now we stand with you." "Daniel's right," Martha added. "Besides, Morrison would still come after us, thinking we know where you went. Our best chance is together." Logan sank back into his chair, something shifting in his expression. I've been alone a long time, forgotten what it means to have people willing to stand with you. Well, remember quick, Daniel said with a slight smile, because we've got planning to do. They worked through the night, preparing defenses, planning strategies. Logan shared his knowledge of Morrison's tactics, while Daniel contributed his understanding of the local terrain. Martha organized supplies and prepared hiding spots for the children. 3 days later, their preparations were tested. Morrison came with 10 men, approaching at dawn when they thought the family would be sleeping. But Logan had anticipated this, and they were ready. The battle was fierce. Morrison's men had expected easy prey, but found instead a fortified position defended by 3 determined fighters. Logan's rifle sang its deadly song from the reinforced loft, while Daniel held the main floor with steady determination. Martha, stationed at a side window, proved she'd been practicing with the shotgun. The tide turned when several neighboring homesteaders arrived. Word of the impending attack had spread, and the community Logan had dismissed as unable to help proved him wrong. Farmers and ranchers who'd suffered under Morrison's terror came to stand with the family who'd shown the courage to fight back. Faced with organized resistance, Morrison's men began to fall back. In desperation, Morrison himself charged the cabin, pistol blazing. Logan stepped out to meet him. The 2 men faced each other in the dusty yard, the morning sun casting long shadows. Morrison's face was twisted with rage and hate. Logan's was calm, almost sad. "You took everything from me," Morrison screamed. "No," Logan replied quietly. "You took everything from yourself the day you chose to live by the gun and prey on innocent folks." Morrison went for his pistol. He was fast, but Logan was faster. A single shot echoed across the yard, and Morrison crumpled to the dust. His remaining men fled, pursued by the armed neighbors. As the dust settled, Logan stood over Morrison's body, his shoulders slumped. Martha approached carefully, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "It's over," she said softly. "For him. Not sure it ever is for men like me." But when he looked at her, some of the old pain had faded from his eyes. Sheriff Patterson arrived with a posse to find the battle already won. Morrison's gang scattered to the winds, and the threat that had plagued the territory was ended. That evening, as neighbors helped repair the damage and shared a communal meal, Logan found himself overwhelmed by the sense of community. Thomas and Emma regaled anyone who'd listened with their version of events, painting Mr. Logan as a larger-than-life hero. Daniel found Logan standing apart, watching the gathering with an unreadable expression. "So," Daniel said casually, "I've been thinking. This place is getting too big for just Martha and me to handle. Could use a partner. Someone who knows cattle, can handle trouble if it comes, interested." Logan looked at him in surprise. "You asking me to stay permanent? I'm asking you to stop drifting and help us build something. The children adore you, Martha trusts you, and I'd be proud to call you partner." Daniel extended his hand. "What do you say?" Logan looked toward the cabin, where Martha was laughing with the neighbor women, where Thomas was showing off his target practice results, where Emma was dancing with one of her dolls. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to imagine a future beyond the next town, the next lonely trail. He clasped Daniel's hand firmly. "I say yes." The expanded cabin stood proud against the setting sun, its new rooms a testament to hard work and partnership. Logan stood on the porch, watching Thomas practice with his rifle under careful supervision. The boy had grown taller, more confident, but still maintained the discipline Logan had taught him. Emma burst through the door, nearly knocking Logan over in her excitement. "Uncle Logan! Mama says supper's ready!" Uncle Logan. The title still caught him off guard sometimes, filling him with a warmth he'd thought lost forever. Inside, Martha and Daniel were setting the table for their weekly family dinner. The cabin was filled with the smells of fresh bread and stew, the sounds of family life that had once haunted Logan's dreams, but now brought only contentment. "Letter came from Sheriff Patterson," Daniel announced. "Says the territory's been peaceful since Morrison's gang broke up. Gives you most of the credit." Logan shrugged. Team effort. Don't be modest, Martha chided gently. Though I do think Emma's chickens helped. Remember how one attacked that outlaw's horse? They laughed, sharing the memory. These moments of simple joy had become common, weaving together into a new life none of them had expected. After dinner, Logan stepped outside for his evening walk. He still carried his gun. Old habits died hard, but it had been months since he'd needed it for anything more than scaring off coyotes. At the small cemetery on the hill, he paused at 2 wooden crosses he'd added, shortly after deciding to stay. Margaret Harper, Beth Harper. His wife and daughter finally had markers, a place he could visit and remember. Found something I thought I'd lost, he said quietly to the evening air. Not a replacement for you, nothing could be that, but a reason to keep going, to build again instead of just destroying. I think you'd understand. The wind whispered through the grass, and for a moment he could almost hear Margaret's voice telling him it was time to live again. Walking back to the cabin, Logan saw the lamps glowing warmly in the windows. Inside, he could hear Thomas reading aloud while Emma giggled at the voices he made for different characters. Martha and Daniel's quiet conversation drifted through the open door. This was home now. Not just a place to sleep or hide from memories, but a real home with people who'd stood by him and allowed him to stand by them. The solitary cowboy had found his family. As he climbed the porch steps, Emma appeared in the doorway. Uncle Logan, Papa says you'll tell us a story about your horse, Buck. Does he now? Logan smiled, scooping up the little girl. Well, I suppose I could tell you about the time Buck and I outran a tornado in Kansas. Really? Thomas appeared, eyes bright with interest. Really? Logan confirmed, carrying Emma inside. Gather round, and I'll tell you all about it. As the family settled in for story time, Logan realized that sometimes the end of one trail was just the beginning of another. The lonely roads he'd traveled had led him here, to this moment, to this family that had saved him as surely as he'd saved them. Outside, the stars began to appear in the vast western sky, watching over the homestead where a gunfighter had finally found peace, where a family had found their protector, and where together they'd built something worth fighting for. The end. Wow, what an incredible journey. If you enjoyed this western tale of redemption and family, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear which part touched you the most. Was it Logan's transformation? The courage of the Collins family? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next story. We have more amazing tales of the Old West, stories of courage, and heartwarming family adventures coming your way. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.